So I'm going to call the meeting to order at 9:33. President Bill McGowan, Lisa McGonigal, Paul Kears, Wayne Sawchuk, and Dan Coughlin. I guess our first order of business will be our next meeting, which would be the 26th of April. Pardon me, if that works for everybody.
It's the 27th of April.
It's 27. Oh, you're right.
7 p.m.
7
That's
p.m.
Yeah, it's a public meeting for Cook.
Oh, I was thinking a regular sewer meeting,
Okay,
which would be 2 weeks from
today. Okay, so the 26th at 9:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wayne, does that work?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let's see.
Jane Reardon is on. She's got a, well, she just said she's on. She's in one of the question and answer things.
Okay, I'm promoting, I think everybody that's in as an attendee right now are all for Cook Estate.
Okay.
Thanks, Jane.
There we go. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
You're looking for updates from me. Sean is on 2, I see. And I think we're on, in a way, we're in a stopped position because of not hearing back from the surveyor. Sean, anything else from your end? God, that's a cat. Sorry.
No, we haven't heard back from them. I guess they did make an appearance out there a couple weeks ago, but we haven't seen anything from them. So we're in a holding pattern as far as design goes.
And
There were some folks on site yesterday. I had my Elder Affairs board meeting. I left about 10:30 or so, and there were some folks up there.
all right, that's good news.
Out on Sawyer Street. So.
They were also doing the town was doing tree work
Oh, okay.
on Sawyer. So they were cutting down some trees. I'm not sure even which ones, but I don't know what group was there.
Yeah, and I passed Sawyer this morning at about a little after 8 down at the end behind the gas station. There were some guys looking around. There was one on one side of the street and 3 on the other. So they
But
look like surveyors to me.
all right, well, that would be good if it was, because we're waiting, and we're also the easement can't be completed until the survey's done too. So but we've now connected the town's lawyer and Ellen and Haggie's lawyer together. So they're all waiting on the surveyor.
Okay.
So Greg Corbo is working with you guys, Jane?
Well, all I know is I connected him to Ellen Shapiro and said, Greg needs to be in the middle of everything. And she said, okay, she'll make it happen. But I think everybody is holding until the surveyor completes their work, which I actually wasn't aware of. I thought maybe we could follow through with the easement language, but I guess we need their survey to make it specific.
So do you know if you can get them to get this done before the 27th, which is your public hearing?
I sure hope so.
Okay.
Sean, I don't know. Is Alicia in the here in the group? I can't see who's here and who's not. But
Yes, she is.
Alicia, she was our main contact with this particular surveyor to get him on board, and where we're having a little trouble with communication, maybe Alicia, you could zip something out to them and see where they're at and what their timing is and how important getting something to us before the 27th would be. I think you're still muted, Alicia. Alicia, you're muted. All right. So tell me a little bit about the public hearing on the 27th. I didn't have that on my calendar, but that's okay. We'll put it on the calendar. But can you tell me what that's about and what that what role you want us to play.
Well, my understanding of it is just, we have to go before the public to increase the sewer district. And there was an article that Lisa, did it go into the Mariner? Will it be in this week's Mariner?
It'll be in the 15th and the 22nd Mariner. Announcing the public hearing. And it's because we need to have this public hearing in order to put it on the town meeting for the sewer expansion.
Great.
And it basically is just saying that, because of public health necessity, we are extending the district to the Deer Hill pump station.
Great. And is that done via Zoom?
I presume so, yeah.
And Pam and Sewer Commission, will you be doing the presentation? I will certainly have Cook present, but is there something that I'm not an expert at this, so you just have to work with me.
I would presume that we'll start it and then Pam is going to substantiate it with the fact that, we got to do it. I mean, it's a no choice, no problem situation, basically.
Great. Okay.
And then it gives the residents of Cohasset a chance to voice their concerns or opinions or what have you.
Of course.
Pam, do you have anything to add on that, or?
Well, I have a PowerPoint presentation that I've given to the select board and to the advisory committee already. I'm not sure if I could do that. It takes
Sure.
like maybe 2 minutes to run through.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
That'd be
And then
great.
I was going to do the same thing for the water commission because ultimately there'll be a presentation before the town meeting before the article comes up. We have a new communications person that just started today, and I'd like to just have like a 2-minute video just to introduce it. And at the end of it, I'd like to be able to say endorsed by select board, board of health, sewer commission, water commission, and just have let know that everybody is on board with this. So it's really important to have this vote. This will be great.
Good.
Good, thank you.
So we'll
All
try
right.
and light some fires under the surveyor. I really don't know what the holdup is. So Alicia and I will talk offline. And Sean, have you reached out to them?
I had sent an email before the last meeting and they didn't get back to me, so.
All right. Okay. We'll see what we need to do to get that moving. If we don't have the survey done by the 27th, tell me what the consequence is, please.
Well, I'm not going to speak for Pam. I don't think there are any. I mean, we're just basically increasing it one way or the other, and it's just a matter. I think having an easement is a
Yeah.
formality to all the whatever the financial and sort of contractual stuff you guys have to do.
Absolutely. And then we're waiting for that so Sean can complete the engineering plan and we can go out to bid. I mean, it's all right now held up with that. So, okay, great.
All right.
Just for information, I stopped and talked to the engineers that were doing the sidewalk, and they are not the same engineers that are doing your work. And the engineers that I saw doing your work were parked in the Deer Hill driveway there, but I didn't get a chance to talk to them. So
Which
there
Sean,
is someone that had kicked.
I mean, our engineer right now is right there, Sean Hardy. So, Sean, were you on site in the parking lot?
No,
No, I'm talking about this. I'm talking about the surveyor.
Oh, okay,
I
got
call
it.
it
Thank you.
engineer.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just wanted to,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
So you think they were on site? The surveyor?
They were, and I took a picture of the truck, so I had the name of the company, and I could send that to Lisa or you, and you could give them a call and say, we saw your truck on site. How are you doing with the work?
Yeah, I mean, we paid, we already signed a contract, so I've got all their contact information. It's just, I was trying
Right,
to,
just want to
have
know
it-
when they finish.
yeah. Ooh,
Wayne, where are you?
I am running down the expressway in my Ford pickup that bounces all over the place. So I'm actually getting a headache looking at myself and going up and down. So,
Yeah, we're not going to comment, but anyway.
so if I look at the video, you understand why.
Okay,
Was
I'm
there,
not driving though.
I noticed on the agenda, an update plus vote to move forward with the sewer extension. Is that the information on the public hearing on the 27th? Or is there?
Yes. So we just need to have a formal vote from the sewer commission that they approve of doing the sewer expansion for Cook Estate. They need that for the warrant. I don't think we officially voted.
We haven't. You guys haven't.
So we're going to vote on the 27th after the public hearing.
No, I think you're going to vote now to.
really? Wouldn't that be part of the public hearing that we would vote on it or not?
From what I understand, that we now to put it on the warrant.
I thought that was the whole point of the public hearing, right? To take your official vote after the hearing.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought we opened the floor for
We should vote
discussion
now, so
Yeah, and
and vote then. Yeah.
right, and I thought it was somewhat of a small game of dominoes here where Pam would say we don't, we have to do it, and we then vote to do it, type of thing. I may be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Could you
I
ask
thought that
Tracy?
that I was talking to Tracy because she kept asking if you had voted on it yet. You put it so she could put that in the town warrant. But I think at this point, it's probably a moot point because I think everything had to be in by Friday.
Okay.
And it looks like she's on the phone right now, so I can't call her.
Well, if we have to do it, we can do it on the 26th, right?
Yeah.
We can do it. We can do it on the 14th as well. We have another meeting on the 14th.
The meeting on the 14th is right, you're right, because we'll be opening it up. We'll be opening a regular meeting up and then we're gonna close it to go
Right,
into
right.
executive session.
So
Right.
that's at 7 p.m.
No, that's,
This one's at 9:30 in the morning on the 14th.
On the 14th? Okay.
but then we go right into executive session. So,
Right.
So do you need us present for that vote?
no.
Great.
I have no problem making a case right now and voting now.
Okay, so
I suppose
So a
it really
motion-
doesn't make it, I suppose it doesn't make a
Yes.
difference one way or the other, really, if you look at it.
so
I want them to know that we're in favor of it. We're in favor of the way it's being done. The town has to give authorization to let it get done.
Did you want to make a motion, Paul?
Yeah, I think I'd like to make a motion to move forward with the sewer extension to include the Cook Estate, pending town hall or town meeting approval.
Okay, I will second that.
And I second that.
We'll do a roll call. Bill McGowan, aye.
Paul Kearsarge,
Wayne Sawchuck, aye.
Okay,
at
Great.
least I think we satisfied that aspect of it for Tracy.
Okay,
Very much for your support in all this. We appreciate it a lot, given where we are. And Pam, your work on it has been extraordinary from the very beginning. Not that we like it, but we really appreciate you shepherding us through various points. So
Thanks, Jane.
welcome.
okay, so we can move on to capital budget.
so again, this is a formality just to approve the two items that we put on the capital budget for town meeting warrant. I mean, yeah, for the articles for the meeting. Those were sent via email. The first one was the Deer Hill and Tupelo Road pump stations to be rehabilitated for $80,000. And we just need a formality vote.
Well, should we do both the grid screw and the Deer Hill and Tupelo Road?
Yes, and then the other one was the grit screw for $90,000.
Right. So just some context, guys. I went before the capital advisory last week and discussed both of these. There really wasn't any pushback at all. We talked about not doing South Main at this point, and a couple of other smaller ones until we get a further definition of what we're going to do on South Main. The interesting thing, they came out and said, basically, we really don't have to go to them because we are an enterprise fund. And, we're sort of on an island of our own, but for common courtesy, I guess it's what's always been done, because I know I've done it several times when Sam was around. But so anyway, I'll make a motion that we approve capital budget of a grit screw of 90,000 and of the rehab of the Deer Hill and Tupelo Road pump stations totaling 80,000.
Paul Kears,
Second
second.
it. Okay.
We'll do a roll call. Bill McGowan, aye.
Paul Kears, aye.
Wayne Sawchuck, aye.
Okay.
Would those two pumping stations be upgraded prior to anyone hooking up like CJC or Cook?
I would think so. Yeah, I would think that's why we have to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was down at the plant yesterday taking pictures for the harbor revitalization or stabilization and resilience Zoom meeting that was last night, and I talked to Scott, and he basically said a lot of what has to happen is like some of the railings and stairs and are rotting away, that type of thing. So, but he said we'll get a more of an update on that. And in fact, Lisa, I'd like to have Scott and Rob, if he's around, join us for the next meeting.
Okay,
All right.
So they're going to give us somewhat of a facilities update.
Yeah, I haven't asked specific. Yeah, and maybe Lisa, you can ask him that. But we haven't really. He said everything's going fine. Knock on wood. So no issues.
facilities update?
Yeah, just an update on
Yeah,
facilities
just
and
a
everything.
standard. I know we talked about the barn doors, and then if this resiliency has identified any updates that may be required in the future, it'd be
So
what those might be. Yeah.
Yeah, so they haven't really been part of that session
Okay.
to speak of, but a lot of it is, as Wayne talked last night, was fixing the manholes that are in the meadow and making them waterproof and, with the tight tops and all that kind of stuff. But also there's some discussion of maybe putting something around the plant to isolate it from water, because one of the photographs I took was of a stake that's it's 8 feet high. And they have a measuring stick on the side. As you walk up to the plant, it's on the left-hand side.
Okay.
And, from the harbor committee and other pundits, they're saying, 12, 16-foot tides are coming. So, and that would kill us.
Yeah.
So that's that on that. And okay. Yeah, so one of the things I want to also talk about with everyone here, capital budget we've done, is now go to South Main Street. We really haven't, I don't believe, started anything or should have started anything, because we don't really know what we're going to do yet. We haven't had a session as I've requested with Situate, with this board, and then with their 2 to 3 select board members, along with Jim Boudreau. And I think that's paramount before we do anything. We should, and then we can decide exactly what we're going to do, who's going to pay for it. And in my opinion, and I welcome the board to say what they think on this.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that decision was made prior to my coming on to the board. or to the commission about sewering South Main because it was the last area to sewer for the harbor. And so nothing's been done since then. And I know that Situate has expressed an interest in connecting. So I think it would be best to, I'd like to see this gentleman, Jim Boudreau, come in front of the sewer commission and explain to us what his thoughts are, what his conversations have been, just so we can be introduced to him and understand what it is that their needs are that could be supported by Cohasset if we go down that direction. To us even wanting to sewer, South Main.
Right. So that was the point of my asking Chris and actually Corey Evans to ramrod this thing, to have a meeting there. Whether we go there or they come to us, we have a session. We post the meeting and then just go and okay, now what do you guys want to do? What do we want to do? How do we help? All that kind of stuff, because we really haven't had one of those. And
I've been on board for a year. We've never, no one has come to the sewer commission. But we've always gone south, one person at a time, to go meet with them, talk with them. But I think it'd be great for them to come and let us all understand what.
Well, we could do a Zoom as well, or whatever it is.
Yeah. Zoom is perfectly fine. I think if nothing else was on the agenda, we could just have a separate session just with them, so we can kind of go through some of the thoughts that Wayne has had over the last 6 months and answer some basic mystery questions or confirm the scuttlebutt of what's going on and why are we going down this path. So if we could just have a general idea of where they're at and how that would affect us, and then we can make decisions on South Main once we understand that.
Right. And then when I went to a month or more ago, I went with Chris Senior and Jack Creighton, and it was very much of an introductory meeting. It got a little off the tracks, but I think they want to do it. They've said, and I whether it's posturing or not, the town manager said we really don't have to go through Cohasset. Okay, fine. But the way they want to sewer is to buy I&I repairs for the rest of their network, which could take forever. Jim Boudreau has gone out to look at where the money is coming from, both state and federal grants for, I guess there's a lot of money out there for regionalization type projects, hands across the sea, so to speak, and a lot of money for cleaning waterways and what have you. Amazing. I keep looking at the EPA and Googling, what are they doing? I don't see a whole lot. So I think we should try to do that, and maybe Lisa as a to-do item for yourself, maybe check in with Tracy and Chris and see where we are on having a potential meeting with Situate and when that could be done.
Yeah, I tell you, I'd love to find out separately from them what all of those financial mechanisms are that they've identified, because they're all applying for all kinds of funding from Situate. I would think that, Cohasset would want to apply for a certain amount of funding as well.
Yes. Yeah, he didn't say exactly what they were.
Yeah.
He said there was state and federal money and there's a lot of grants available, and I think he's done more than scratch the surface. He has looked into it. I just don't know what they are.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be great. I know when I had talked to our state representative, Joan Machino, she expressed a desire to help us. And if there's any way that her office can help, us identify or understand what we can do for regional sewer, she's got her support behind us. So.
Does she also have Hull?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
So let me just talk about as far as where we're at with South Main Street. Several meetings ago, we had talked about basically starting the plan sets, and that's what we've done. We got the topo from engineering. We had talked about possibly expanding it to look at Brewster and Ledgewood, but that's off the table for now. So basically what we have is basically the base plans. We did look or did a little evaluation as far as a gravity option, which really doesn't make sense in that area. Too many pumping stations, too much repumping, especially if you go with a regional alternative. The regional alternative obviously would be a main force main down the road. So we have the base plans. We've requested utility information from the public utilities. We'll throw that on. But beyond the base plans, we haven't done any design work relative to a regional sewer.
And when was that plan started and when was it completed?
Well, we're still in the process of doing the utilities on it, but it was started probably January, I'm thinking.
Oh, this year?
Yes. Basically, when we got the topo from engineering, we started breaking that up and creating base sheets. Now, the only thing I really think should probably go on the same track is basically the public information portion for the residents in that area. Several years ago, we had talked about, a group of residents, trying to get together with them to create a forum or a workshop to get their input. That aspect never really went any further than that. And, as part of any planning process here, to do this type of expansion, especially a regional expansion, you're going to need a facility plan update or amendment, one of those two things. But I think it would be something good to just kind of start that public information portion for the residents in that area to see what the needs are, see what their concerns are, and try to get that input up front.
Yeah, we haven't decided to do anything with South Main, so that's not something we've been talking about or planning on. I wasn't sure that you started on this already. I thought your requests were going unanswered over the last 6 or 8 months on some,
The request for
I don't know,
information.
whether they were topical plans that you were waiting on from the town that they weren't able to get you, so you couldn't complete anything because you didn't have those?
That was basically, the town had done town topo, in other words,
Yeah.
for the entire town.
Yep.
You need the topographic information to assemble the plan set. And we had wanted to get the town's topo,
Yeah,
just so you don't have a survey cost. Otherwise it's a large chunk of money to survey that entire area. And
okay.
then finally, we were able to get that topo, and basically we've been cutting it up into sheets at this point.
Okay, so you got the topographical plans. When was that? Because I know they were delayed for quite some time, and then you started in January?
I believe it was in January they were finally transferred. I'd have to go back and look at the date.
Okay. So you got the plans from the town, and then you started putting a base plan together for a force main system?
Base plans for the sewer expansion, primarily just to service the South Main Street area, because at that point in time, the regional was still up in the air.
Right, so you're going from the town line of Situate
Correct.
down to South Main to where do we have a sewer line already on South Main, I think, past Pond Street? Or
Very
is it-
little, near
Okay.
Summer.
So it's gonna hook up on Summer?
Basically at the intersection of Summer and South Main
Okay,
is where the end of the system is.
okay.
And
I would, Mr. Chairman, I think we should probably suspend any further work that he's doing on this until we kind of have these meetings to find out where we are.
Yeah, agree. But I also I don't feel like we should be going out and sort of, beating the wasp nest until we know exactly what's going on with Situate and if they're in or out. And then if they're out and we want to do something on our own, then we can start, exactly doing, all the pieces. In fact, there's probably a ton of them that we're not even thinking of yet, of how to go down and do that, because
Yeah, I was just thinking that you'd want to get some input from the own residents, just to get some feedback. So
yeah, I can understand doing that. I just think that we might be, it might be too soon. I think we need to have what the total picture is of what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and how we're going to pay for it. Because they're going to be asking questions, who's going to do what, how's it going to be paid? Just like we did with Little Harbor, and we don't have any of that yet. So I think it'd be too early to bring public comment into this. until we have all the basic answers for them.
Yeah, I
I
think about 2 or 3 years ago, we actually had roughed out an estimate for the expansion for just that area and come up with a cost. And I think it was, if I recall correctly, it was similar to like Little Harbor. It was in the range of about 35,000 roughly per residence for a connection. And I think we had distributed that previously to their group, but obviously nothing. It's a different animal if you go regional and you have additional funding.
Right. Well, I think we're probably not going to be able to echo what happened with Little Harbor, because that was basically a federally mandated hookup, and this will be voluntary unless their septic systems have failed, so which we don't know. So
Right, but I think there's a lot more to this, though. I think it's a case of many little different factors, just like the fact that Brian wants to pave South Main Street, but doesn't want to pave it until the decision is made on whether or not we're going to do sewer there, because he will have a 5-year or 10-year moratorium preventing us from digging it back up and doing it. So that it would be an administrative delay that would hurt us if we wanted to do something in the next couple of years. And I think secondly, the town through Brian has also received an estimate on what it would cost from the pump manufacturer based on whatever models that they have in their computer system. And my question always, well, how does the pump company know how much ledge is there and all this other stuff, and what would the real cost be? And I think thirdly, there are some people that are just off of South Main Street that have come before the board and put in different requests. The little 5-unit condo right over the railroad tracks on Beechwood Street. So South Main and Beechwood Street at the railroad tracks, saying, we're in trouble here. Our system is not working satisfactorily. Is sewer going to go this far? And then of course the biggest thing is, if you're going to have the size of the pipe is going to dictate what you can do in the future. If we did the South Main Street, it might be a 3-inch pipe. If we put a 3-inch pipe, Situate wouldn't be able to put any flow into it because it would be too small. And then last night we heard so much about this resiliency plan, and I think both Lynn and I agree that there's more things that we have to look at as a sewer commission on how can we put into the resiliency plan things that are going to make improvements in our plant and prevent us from having a problem when these higher tides come in, and they are coming in. And so we have to, see what the effect on a Situate or additional would be on our plant in case of a disaster or a major flood event or something like that. Because now, what do? We've got 150,000 gallons of flow that we can't send anywhere because our plant is shut down. So there's a lot to it, and I don't think we can. The idea of having a resident participation is they're going to be the ones that are going to have to pay the full cost of this, because the town, the people in Beechwood across 3A aren't going to necessarily say, "Oh, we'll pay half the cost like we did years ago." It will be that's going to be a financial burden for them. However, there will be many people that'll say, this is a lot better than my septic system. I have to have it pumped, or I have to have it replaced, or whatever. So there's a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah, and I just think that we just need to have our answers in hand. And, there's a lot of stuff we just don't know yet. So, but yeah,
Right,
I agree.
So we're going to ask Dan not to do any further work on South Main.
Not until we know
Okay.
exactly what's going on.
Okay, so what we have right now is a base plan in which you utilize the topical plans for basically a force main system. Is that where you stand right now as far as that project goes, Dan?
Yeah, we might have some additional utility requests out to some of the public utilities, and they're sending us some plans. We're going to put that information on, but we can just stop it.
Right.
Okay.
Because to Wayne's point, I mean, if, again, I'm not an engineer, but I would think that the pipe, if we're going to take Situate the pipe sizes are going to be completely different if Situate's in or Situate's out, I would
On the
think.
main line, yes, but not on the side streets. So,
Okay.
and that's really the way we were heading. The main line, you don't know what you're gonna have because the regional is up in the air. But we could at least, complete the base sheets for the side streets, and then you'd have a depiction and we could get a cost.
Okay.
But we can start.
All right. Okay, abatements. We have one, Lisa, for a woman with a pool.
So she is not here. And I had mentioned to her that it's in her favor to be here to present because you all had questions that I don't have answers to. So I think that we should put that on hold again.
Okay.
I thought that her husband might be available, but I guess he's not.
And nobody's on like attendees or anything like that, but we don't know who they, no, I guess not.
No, just Brian Joyce and Jim Carpenter, who's a tenant of Cook Estates
Okay.
and also a board member of Elder Affairs. So Jim, I hope you're doing well.
It did seem like a pretty straightforward thing, though, that she was just filling her pool.
Now, there's a real question on something like this is, how does she determine how many cubic feet within the pool versus what her normal or usage is? And at 13,000 cubic feet, that's about 91,000 gallons.
That's a
So how
lot.
big is the pool?
Right.
That's 9 trailer loads of water. Just, it's,
That's a pretty damn, I was, you're more scientific than I, Wayne, but I was like looking at that number and I'm like, that's a pretty damn big number of water.
It is. Yeah.
And she confirmed with wherever that there weren't any leaks.
Yeah, but she's got to have a pool the size of like Little Harbor or something. I mean, that's a lot of water.
Yeah, I mean, really, all you need is the gallonage for the pool.
and she should have the dimensions and then what is it, 12 inches up from the top down, or,
Yep.
Right, I sent those to you though, the dimensions.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That was from before. I'll have to pull it up again. I don't have it at my fingertips, sorry.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that, Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of paramount to this whole thing. I mean, that's a lot of water.
I think even with the dimensions that we talked about at the last meeting, that it was, I think it was still determined it was still a lot of water.
Yeah. Well, I'd say rather than keep talking about it, I'd say let's get them on, one or both of them on the horn with this, and let's see what we can talk about.
Yeah.
If you have those dimensions, send them again, because then we can just calculate.
Okay.
Any other business that we want to talk about?
So I do. So 75 Hull Street, we talked about the abatement for them maybe a couple of months ago. And it was an abatement and a reimbursement because they're not connected to sewer. And my notes were that we were going to vote at the next meeting, and I apologize. I must have dropped the ball. And I didn't have it on the agenda.
Okay.
So basically, it was a reimbursement for, they had been paying a grinder pump fee and sewer use fees. So that added up to be $7,499.49. And again, that includes the grinder pump fee. And then the abatement was for an additional $284.74. And like I said, a couple of months ago, we had it as that we were going to vote on it in the next meeting.
So give me the sort of synopsis on this. They don't have a grinder, or they have a grinder pump, but they don't need it. They don't use it.
So they have been paying for sewer, but they never connected. They sewer line from their home goes to their neighbor. It doesn't go out to the street. They connected to their neighbor's
Neighbor, yeah, I
line.
remember this conversation, yeah.
Yes. And so
connected
they
to the
have a
neighbor's-
shared,
I'm sorry, neighbor's septic system
I believe so, yes.
or neighbor's grinder pump?
What?
Were they connected to the sewer via the neighbor or just to? the
No,
neighbor's
they're not
septic?
connected to the sewer. I mean, they're not using the sewer. They're
Yeah,
not
but I
using
think-
the sewer.
I think the question is there sewer pipe, going gravity into the neighbor's property? Or is it, to me, if you got a bill for sewer for the last X number of years, you would say something if you weren't on sewer.
So what happened
you-
was he was being billed, he wasn't paying it up until he had to pay his taxes. And then there was a lien. on it. And then I think his nephew was doing his billing and just that's Emanuelo, Mr. Emanuelo.
Yeah, I think Brian Joyce went to the property, if I'm not mistaken, right, Brian?
We did. I accompanied Brian with going there, and we discovered that they were not using the sewer because the panel wasn't on. They weren't using the grinder pump. I believe it was dry.
Oh,
But does the neighbor have a septic system? Is that what they're using? Is this a shared system? Or are they flowing to the neighbor and then he's pumping it?
I think what's on site is, so they have a grinder pump that was installed and but it was not connected to the house. The house is still discharging today to septic system. But they installed a grinder pump. The grinder pump is connected through the neighbor's property and then out to Hull Street to the sewer. But they're physically, the grinder pump is, 10 or 15 feet from the house, but there is no gravity pump, or gravity line from the house to that pump chamber. I don't think so. It hasn't been used. It's not powered up. The panel looked pretty old and unused. So that's the situation. And I don't know if it's a shared easement or not, or one of those shared properties. But I think what they were looking to do is get their own individual line out to the street. Is that correct, Lisa?
Yes, that's what he talked about with us before. But I think that you and I talked, Brian, and he probably will change his mind when he finds out like what the cost is, when he already has a shared, I believe he is a shared easement with number 81. It's one of the ones that are highlighted in blue from Dan's list that has a shared easement.
so I guess a question to Brian and Lisa. How old is that pump? And if you wanted to connect to our line, could it work? Would it work? I mean, he'd have to get a new panel or what do you think, Brian?
It probably makes sense to upgrade it. I don't know the shape of it, but it was an older, it was 20 years old, it looked like.
Yeah, it's probably, probably original Interon, if that's the case.
And if they
Are you-
did have to, it would be under their dime, though, right? We wouldn't upgrade it because we would be reimbursing them for.
So the total
you're
is what, approximately $7,600? Is that what the total you're looking for?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the pump,
77.
if we bought him a new pump, we'd be paying another $7,000.
But we're not though. Right, oh, right, yeah.
So we want to be careful there.
So they're asking for basically a credit of $7,600 for a pump they paid for and never used. And then after we issue that, then they're thinking of hooking up to sewer, in which you would have to pay the current hookup rate.
Yeah, and then they're gonna have to, they're gonna have to get it, if they want to hook again, they're gonna have to figure out that pump. I mean, if,
Right.
they can't have a free pump.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. And that would be understood that they won't get an upgrade from us.
But I mean, what prevents them from hooking the old pump up and seeing if it works? The free one, if we give them this abatement.
Yeah, I mean, the whole process of the billing for the sewer fee was basically to accumulate enough money to pay for a new pump for everybody. So you either give them an abatement or you give them a new pump, I think is the result. The only other thing is, are we sure he paid his betterment as well? Is his
He
betterment paid
did,
off?
yes, his betterment's
basically-
paid off.
So basically, he has bought into the system by paying off his betterment. I
So
don't think.
does his sewer bills just say the retro, the surcharge that we put in and not a usage amount?
So that's where it becomes a little difficult because he's on Ware River water, the sewer bill is based on that water bill, right? So Brenda just takes the information from Ware River and bills for sewer based on their water consumption.
Right, so, but the bill from the town to that person, what did it say? Did Brenda only charge him for the $175, or did she charge her for the water usage as if it was going into the sewer?
It's water usage as well as if it's going into sewer, because it was assumed he was hooked up to sewer.
Well, I would never think about charging him the $37,000 to connect on the sewer if all this has happened in the past, and we're somewhat responsible because I don't know why Rosano and Davis didn't replace the pump and didn't know that the pump was there, and we didn't know that the pump was there and not used. There's just, it's just a lot of things that fell through the cracks. And what is he really doing? Is he selling the house to put up a new 5-bedroom place or whatever? Not that that should matter financially, but.
I guess we should find out, did he pay a privilege and hookup fee over 20 years and get a new pump system put in, and then they never hooked up? And what is the current plan for the property if he's going to hook up directly to sewer?
It was weird that he was talking about going down on that property to connect with a separate connection, because of course he'd have to pay for that part of it. And I don't know, is Hingham charging us to open up the street or to tap the main on Hull Street? Or is that something that the private contractors are doing?
Actually, the portion near his property is probably all in Cohasset. I believe that's a pressure extension that's all town.
Yeah, so
he's-
in
Is he
front
on
of
Mass
this
America?
house
Is he on the Aquarian Ware River water system? I
Yeah.
think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the cheapest solution for him if he wants to activate the service is to use what's there. Maybe just change the pump. And question is, he can certainly buy his own E1 and install it. But if he wanted the town to do that, I mean, that's what the fees were for.
Well, I guess we should hear from the property owner directly.
Yeah, and I think this is probably a little bit more complicated than just a straight vote. I think that we should have some sort of an agreement that, what happens going forward. Okay, so say we give them the abatement. what happens going forward, and he needs either a new pump or, I think we have to have all that. We have to memorialize all this stuff so that, down the road, if he does nothing for 5 years and none of us are on the board, whoever's on the board is going to be like, what the hell did you guys do?
Right.
I think it's a little bit more than just having a vote. I think we should have something like an agreement with them that says, this is what you got. This is what you've been paying for. These are all the parameters as we know it today. And what do you want to do and how can we help?
Yeah, they're structured as a release too.
I agree. So Brian, did Brian actually go to the site and look at the building and stuff too? Brian?
So, Wayne, probably last summer, Lisa and I went out there. We looked at the pump, we looked at the panel, it was what I said before. And then more recently, I want to say maybe a month or two ago, the resident came in here and was asking about everything we're talking about now. I will say that I'd say on the older side, and he's probably not Zoom capable, or at least that's what he said when we were talking about going before the board. So I think if we were in a Zoom platform, he'd probably come in here and maybe join us in person, which is not a problem.
Right.
But the question we had at that time was, it looked like he went through the neighbor's property. Was that a legal easement for him to continue to use? We weren't sure about that question. So that was question number one. And then number two was, he wanted to hook up the property or start using the sewer connection. And just like Dan said, he has paid these fees, which are both for flow and for the pump replacement fee. He hasn't taken advantage of either of them. So you gotta figure out, do we abate that, at least the flow portion, or do we, provide a pump? Or I think the cleanest way is probably abate it and let him buy his own pump. But again, that's up to the commission.
Yep.
But I agree, it'd probably be a good idea for him to come in and speak on it, and he could either sit at my desk with me or Lisa's.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, just to reiterate, I think having him sign an agreement that we all are all agree to, it would also be good for the future, so that this
Right.
kind of thing doesn't happen again.
And based upon our
Yeah.
records, it does look like that was a shared easement, basically, that was granted to the town. And we still hold that.
So it's a legal easement as far as you.
Yeah, it's by occupation, but it allows him to discharge through that pipeline into that shared system.
Now Lisa should have all of the easements. So did you happen to run across that one? When you're
We
doing the
should confirm that the easement is actually in writing, then we have a copy of it.
So I have an easement for 81 Hull Street. It's highlighted in blue. So according to Dan's list, the ones highlighted in blue were shared easements. I have that one, and I have 75 Hull Street easement.
So you have both those easements?
I do.
Okay, so that's good. So I think that having him appear in person somewhere and us going over it just the way Brian said it, I think that I would be in favor of that as a solution, and just go on.
Yep.
And let him have the pump that's there and that type of thing. And he owns it. So.
Yep.
Okay.
I agree.
All right, I'll work on trying to see if he can come here. Maybe his nephew can join him too.
Well, does he have a lawyer involved?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I thought you said bring his lawyer along.
Oh,
No,
no, I'm
so,
sorry, I said his nephew.
Yeah, so
nephew,
this is Emmanuello. He's got a heavy civil thing, so they do water and sewer work. They're no strangers to this. I don't know if this individual, who I think is Al Emanuel's uncle, is in the business, but the Emmanuello, his nephew, lives right behind him. He
Okay.
could probably dig him a line in a day, but he's the one who's kind of helping him through this.
I think
Okay,
this
good.
is Tony. Like it's Tony.
Oh, Tony Emmanuel, yeah.
Okay. So he is elderly and he's declining health.
I'm not sure. I just know that he's not Zoom, really. He wasn't comfortable with,
Yeah.
getting on the Zoom from home. So I think if we brought him in here, we could help him.
Okay, perfect. Good. He's a good guy too. All right. That clears it up.
Well, whenever that happens, Lisa, let us know.
Okay,
And, okay, do we have anything else to want to talk about?
that's all I had.
I don't have anything.
Yeah.
All right, I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at whatever it is, 10:28.
Second,
All in favor, I'll do a roll call. Bill McGowan, aye.
All care side.
Wayne Sawchuk, aye. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.